So this is the opening session. In the opening session, we have two speakers, Dr. Zokait Luangi and followed by me. I will now hand over the podium to Dr. Zokait Luangi.
Good morning, everyone. Be glory to God. That's the seminar we have been waited long. So He brought us here to us. This seminar, Mizoram Gateway of Southeast Asia. What needs to be done? This is. We are going to start today. I'm very happy. So on behalf of the organizing committee, I would like to thank you all. Firstly, we are overjoyed and honored to host this international seminar here at Mizoram University, India, and to welcome you to this auspicious international seminar. First, let us welcome Major General Arun Roy, AVSM, VSM, so many medals. He is from the seniors, and the senior is the main organizer. We are only the partner, and they all are the key persons. We welcome you to this seminar. So let me start from that. That's Mohammed. Okay, let me start from that. Honorable Minister, General Dr. V.K. Singh, PVSM, UYSM, VSM, Minister of State of External Ministers. He is coming today, and we are hoping that he will be arriving soon to grace this memorable seminar. And Mohammed Narul Islam, MP, Bir Pratik, State Minister of Water Resources, Government of Bangladesh, Ambassador Ong Keng Hyong, and his team from Rajaratnam School of International Studies, a premier think tank of Singapore, Mr. Jitendra Chaudhary, Honorable MP and Chairman, Tripura Industrial Development Corporation, and there are many generals and ambassadors and both serving and retired veterans who have spent their lives providing untiring services to their countries and are still continuing the work for the future betterment. They have decorated this seminar. Let us come to welcome them. Present and former chairman, president, directors, secretaries, and the various professional organizations, Mr. Pradhaman Ramanathan, I do hope that my pronunciation is correct, Managing Director, Nimaligarh Oil Refinery. I welcome you all today among us, and special welcome to Colonel P. Baidia, Honorary Secretary, Seniors, is somewhere there, and who has put this event together. We also welcome the central government representatives and officials, and also that government of Mizoram, including that honorable chief ministers and our governor, His Excellency Lieutenant Governor Nibray Sama, PVSM, UYSM, AVSM, VSM retired. He is the Governor of Mizoram. And Vice Chancellors, Registrars, Professors and Principals of various universities and colleges, President, Registrars and Members of various state councils, distinguished invitees, speakers from India and abroad, and invited persons to chair our technical sessions. Ladies and gentlemen, this international seminar is jointly organized by the Research Center for Eastern and Northeastern Regional Studies, Kolkata. The short form is SENERS, and Mizoram University. And the two, we both are working together, but most of the parts are taken up by that SENERS K. And we are getting support from Nimaligarh Refinery Limited, Confederation of Indian Industries, Government of India. Like the saying, birds of a feather flock together. We, the Mizo people, and people from Southeast Asia, being geographically close to each other, many similarities must find it much easier to work together and seek what ought to be done and to draft common policy for this region. Under the strong leadership of our Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi, we are just switched from the look east to the act east policy. And because of that, we are planning to host this international seminar. With this in mind, the organizing committee decided to organize this international seminar on Mizo Gateway to Southeast Asia. What needs to be done? We are just starting. We have to put it together, how to go about. We have to plan our future. We invited eminent personalities from various professions, from governments, administrators, policymakers, academicians, regulators, students, various associations, and prominent citizens. I am convinced, and the organizing also convinced, that this seminar will provide an excellent platform for the exchange ideas consequent to and appropriate conclusions for defining the future growth of this region. We hope that this session will highlight possible events for cooperation between countries and also come up with beneficial cutting-edge resolutions which can positively impact the working of India and the Southeast Asian region. We once again would like to extend warm welcome to delegates from various countries. We are humbled, honored by your presence, and we hope that you will enjoy stay in Mizoram, in our peaceful Mizoram, and we also expected that your contributions for the long future of our country, not only of our country, for the whole region of the Southeast Asia. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Lukat Luangi. Once again, good morning. As we do in all our sessions, we let the audience know a little bit about SENERS K. Unfortunately, Center for Eastern Northeastern Regional Studies, Kolkata, is well known in northeast region of India and North India, perhaps a little bit in South India and much more in the West. There's American nations and Canada. Unfortunately, it is not known very well in Kolkata, Bihar, Orissa and Jharkhand, which forms part of the Northeast. This was formed by some similar thinking people from all walks of life in the year 2008. The founder members are there on the slide. You will notice there are a number of late founder members from 2008 to date. At one time, we had a problem finding governing council members for Senate K because nobody wanted to be on the governing council, being the first ones there. The present governing council is as given on the slide. Now, our patron is General Roy Chaudhary and Mr. Bhandari is the president. Rest as it is given on the slide. We have many eminent members on Senate K. The ceiling of members is 50. As on date, we have 37. We are quite choosy and picky about our members. The primary objectives. It is also given in the brochure. You have an overview which is given out on the brochure, so I won't read it all over again. Besides security, development, growth, and rural upliftment are our major objectives. And the primary research emphasis is also given in your brochures. You can read it now or later. And we try to assist and help not so well-adorned students and children and researchers. On the major seminars held, one of few ones is, our first one was in 2008 August, East and Implications and Effect of the Global Events. Thereafter, those who can read it, one of the important ones was the nuclear risk reduction and conflict evasion. Then AFPAC situation that is going beyond our area. Although we remain focused in the East, Northeast, Southeast Asia and Far East, but we sometimes have to move beyond our areas also when the requirement requires. The last one, if you see India's foreign relations, 1947 to 2007, we have amongst our members our national professor, Professor J.K. Ray. He authored this book and it was launched by Ambassador Krishnan Srinivasan, who is sitting amongst us today, our former Foreign Secretary. Then, of course, we have a number of more this thing, and if you notice, on 12 we had the Indo-Myanmar relations, development of India's northeast. The signature event of Senate K is an Indo-China seminar every year. It can be held either in March or May, June, whenever we find the time opportune. We have also had one on the Indo-Ocean and littoral states. And the last one we held was on 7th May in Calcutta, Indo-China Relations, the Future. We had many eminent speakers from National Security Advisor to former ambassadors, and a host of them. Ma Zhanwu, the Consul General from China, had also spoken. Now, these are basically discussions that we have been holding amongst ourselves with foreign governments and with foreign teams. The latest being that we held a discussion in Calcutta with the Rajaratnam School of International Studies, headed by Ambassador Ong, who is here amongst us today with a team of 5. The major seminars planned, or no more planned, Mizoram is on now. The integration of technology and the very important AFSPA, Armed Forces Special Powers Act, which we thought needs to be discussed at length at some time. Now, some eminent speakers are there on the slide. I don't think you may be able to read it, so I'll say Mr. Naresh Chandra, Mr. Narayanan, then Professor Raja Gopalan, Colonel Richard White, Wajahat Habibullah, Sunanda Datta Ray, Jayanta Kumar Mitter, Falguni Rajkumar, Alok Sen, Ambassador Rangachari, Chief Minister Navam Tuki, Professor Tamo Mebang, Well, there are a host of them. We have all of them, and lately we have had this Professor Mesbah Kamal of Bangladesh, Professor Rehman Sawan, Professor Muntasir Mamoon, Professor Mustafizur Ramoon, Professor M.M. Akash, all from Bangladesh. We had the international seminar at Dhaka on 27th of March this year. And we have had the Indian Ocean Expert Delegation from China, which was the last one, where Dr. Kuping Zhu and Gu Zetian spoke also. Now that was about the SNSK. Having spoken that, I just heard a phone slightly ringing, so may I request you all to put your phones on silent. I promise to remind you to put it on before you leave this place. I would request you to pay attention to this very important subject which we are going to discuss over the next 2 days. However, the speakers will speak what they have to speak. What you take back home from their talk is what matters more. At the end of the 2-day session, there's going to be a 1-hour interaction where it is an open house. You can ask any questions from any speaker present and they will try and answer them. For tea and lunch break, I will request the front row to the 8th row to come up to the podium and go to the rear of the stage. And 8th row backwards and the balcony to go out of the rear and side doors and go to the cafeteria in this building on the ground floor. So there you will be served tea as well as lunch. There are some few mistakes in the book review that we have given you, and there are some change in speakers and some speakers who are not being able to make it. For example, the MD, Numaligarh Refinery Limited, has been called to Delhi yesterday all of a sudden, and in his place, Mr. RMKW Khongware, their marketing boss, is going to speak. Also, the Myanmar's ambassador has been unable to come, so that keynote too has been deleted from the program. There may be some spelling mistakes in the book review, and I do apologize for the same. It was actually printed on the last but one day of this program, but unfortunately those could not be corrected, and the print could not be a second time given. Now, as for running this seminar, we have, as you see, 3 chairs on the podium, but there are sessions where there are 4 speakers or 5 speakers. And you will notice as I speak, the nameplates of the next session people are already up. So the speaker who speaks will have to go down and take his or her seat amongst the audience or wherever the place is kept. And the moment the chair of any session, the chair remains on the stage, and he is the last speaker of that session. I would request all chairs to come and speak from the podium and then go down. But before all the speaker and chairs go down, there is an envelope on the table and a memento from SNSK. I would request you all to carry those with you. Honorable Minister V.K. Singh's flight has been delayed to 11:30. He'll arrive at 11:30. So in order to fill up that gap, we are going to have the session 2 with Ambassador Ong as scheduled in the program. We'll have the tea break as scheduled in the program. But immediately after the tea break, session 9, if you look at 6th October's program, session 9, that is where I have to speak, so I will come and speak and take up those 15 minutes of your valuable time. And by that time, we hope the minister to be in place over here and we can start the session 3. For easy and seamless and effortless carrying on of this seminar, I would request all speakers to kindly stick to the time. And I will request all the chairpersons to whichever manner you feel like to give just a reminder, soft reminder, 3 minutes before the time of finish. I know there's a lot to be said on the subject. The subject is such, but we also need to stick to the time because it's going to be long day today. It's going to be long day tomorrow. So I will now request the next session speakers and the chairs to please come up on the podium. And as the first speaker finishes and he goes down to take his chair, the next speaker in row may please come and follow this up. Thank you, Ambassador Ong. Welcome.
Good morning to you all. It's my proud privilege to chair this first technical session. The rule of the session will be, as has been announced, those speakers who are given a time like 15 minutes or 20 minutes, before the end of the time, when there are 2 minutes or so, there will be a warning bell, and then after the warning bell, then you'll still have 2 minutes for summation. You have to sum up the thing. Yesterday I requested Dr. Lian Mingtanga to be the timekeeper. He is around. Lian Mingtanga, could you please come here in the stage, sit somewhere, and then ring the bell as and when necessary. Dr. Lian Mingtanga. All right. If he has not yet come, anyway, I request the speaker to keep the time as requested. So this morning in the technical session, the first speaker will be Professor J.K. Patnaik, who is the former Dean of Social Sciences here in MZU and Professor with HAG. So now, Professor Patnaik, the floor is yours, and his topic is Looked and Act is View from the Northeastern region and Mizoram. J.K. Patnaik, you have the floor.
Thank you, Professor Liangela, in charge Vice Chancellor of Mizoram University. Thank you, Honorable Ambassador, Honorable participants, professors, my colleagues, students, and the members from the armed forces, all the invitees, and everybody who is present here. Very good morning to all of you. First thing first, let me first of all acknowledge my sense of gratitude to the organizers who gave me the responsibility of speaking first on this technical session. As it has been already announced by the chairman, the title of my paper, I did submit my paper 4 days back though. I don't know whether it will be circulated, but I have some of my. My presentation is very limited. My focus is limited, and my presentation is organized as such. First of all, I look at the fundamentals of India's foreign policy first. As a matter of fact, India's foreign policy has continuity and change as the basic tenet. Although there are some paradigmic shifts from time to time, the fundamentals do remain as it is. Lookist policy, LEP, I would put as acronym LEP, added a new dimension as a subtext to India's foreign policy discourse. Activist policy that the present dispensation added, that added a further further strength to the discourse of foreign policy. Though it does highlight a more nuanced position of acknowledging the need to act. Now, just before I speak about the Lookist policy, I would like to just bring in the context. The context of India's foreign policy, the contours of India's foreign policy, rather. The post-1947, India was more or less focused on Asian regionalism. Following independence, our foreign policy makers, under the leadership of Jawaharlal Nehru, was very much enthused to focus on Asian regionalism and on Asia. And he emphasized on Asian resurgence. In 1955, there was a Bandung conference, wherein even China, which was, isolated by the Western powers, was brought to the center stage. For the simple reason that Nehru wanted that he could forge some Asian unity, thereby providing a kind of, alternative to the discourse of internationalism. Because the discourse of internationalism is predominantly, the mainstream discourse, is predominantly Western-centric. And because India got independence, and India was one of the first countries to get decolonized, after that other countries followed suit, the Indian leaders thought that why not we provide a leadership? And it did happen. It did happen for a while. And we had non-alignment movement, so on and so forth. But the enthusiasm, the spirit with which Nehru wanted to force the Asian unity floundered. It it fell flat with India getting a big shock by China in 1962. But interestingly, let me also speak about the context, that is, the post-colonial societies of East Asia, Southeast Asia particularly, were economically also shaping up slowly. The focus of India was also to have economic, though it is more security concern. Nehru realized that unless we have economic development, we cannot become the leader of Asia. Rightly so, he wanted to continue the linkage, the colonial linkage that we had by being part of the Commonwealth. And the Commonwealth became the basis of our economic relations with other nations. The Asian economies decolonized though, but there was a very slow movement. As you know, India also had Hindu rate of growth, 2 to 3% of economic growth. And we had, so many strategies of economic development that did not actually take off us to the international stage as at least regional power. The Cold War was the main focus. And actually Cold War was the impediment for economic development because of India's focus on neutrality, equidistance from both the superpowers, non-alignment. At one point of time, non-alignment was a very big success, attracting so many decolonized nations to be members of the movement, though. It now has become virtually redundant, superfluous, because the focus of the international system shifted from security to economics. Because in international relations theory, we generally speak about low politics and high politics. The high politics of security gave way to low politics, particularly the strategies of foreign policy. This is because all the decolonized economies were facing severe economic crisis, just at the ending of the Cold War. Cold War ended on its own for the reasons we don't know. Some say America succeeded, Russia failed, Soviet Union failed. Some say no, both the superpowers lost their edges, whatever it may be. And following the ending of the Cold War, people have the notion that it's a unipolar world. In my personal view, it is not. It is rather multipolar world. And it afforded the opportunity for these regional powers like India and others, China, India, or Japan, or the European Union, a space as a pole. So in a multipolar context, the focus shifted from security to economics. It doesn't mean that security is a secondary concern of any nation. Obviously, it is the first concern. But the point is that by the ending of the Cold War, of course, it started in the 70s and 80s though, there was a realization among the intellectuals, particularly political economists, international political economists, that trade is the engine of growth and development. Foreign policy is the trade policy. Somebody said foreign policy is the trade policy. So when foreign policy becomes trade policy, obviously we have to focus on international trade. Not that we did not have international trade, but the share of international trade, the volume, India's share in the volume of international trade was less than 1% at one point of time. I did my PhD on, GATT. When I was in the thick of my research, I was really ashamed to, find the figure that it was less than 1%, and we're talking so much in the GATT multilateral negotiations. What I want to drive at home is that India never had any interest to develop its international trade or to strengthen its international trade as a focus of foreign policy. And our relations were basically, at the rhetoric level. And there was no concrete strategy, economic strategy, to develop foreign policy as economic policy or economic policy as a foreign policy, vice versa, whichever. That was the crux of the foreign policy architecture. Although we tried to continue with the security concerns, the focus on security, but we did change after this ending of the Cold War, the focus, and we came onto this economic dimension. Interestingly, although the Cold War ended in 91, and it coincided with the taking over of P.V. Narasimha Rao as the Prime Minister. Look at this, the very interesting things are happening. If you look at it as a student of international relations, how it does coincide and how suddenly Narasimha Rao wants to change his focus from west to the east. Of course, prior to the ending of the Cold War, there were some indications to change the focus though, but it did not happen.
Sorry for the interruption. If you have 2 more minutes possibly.
Really? No, I start late, sir. Give me 5 minutes, please. Okay. Oh, so Lucas. So I've not started Lucas policy. Okay. Lucas policy in the first phase was very slow because there are apprehensions. People were cynical. People were not able to realize the fact that at least our linkage with ASEAN would have any dividends. I had my personal interaction with some policymakers, and they did tell me that these small nations, are we going to imitate them in 93? I'm talking about. Are we going to imitate them, their models? Because at that time, Asian tigers, they were known as Asian tigers. The 4 Asian tigers, the number of articles, books have come up at that point of time. Our policymakers were not prepared to accept those models of opening up the economy. Slowly though we did it, the first phase was very slow. In the second phase, when Atal Bihari Vajpayee came, actually in the Bali conference, actually he came up with a very concrete proposal, which has got its linkage to Northeast. Because I don't have time, let me talk about a little bit about Northeast. Yeah. Northeast is geographically contiguous. That I don't have to tell. Only 0.5% of our territory is linked to the mainland, interestingly. And which means that we need to have our linkages with Southeast Asian nations. Culturally, we are very close. Traditionally, we are very close. But unfortunately, the problem with Northeast was that it suffered from insurgency and separatism. And this became an inhibiting factor for implementing even Lucas policy per se with full throttle. The asset of Northeast is its culture, unique culture. And this unique culture can become a soft power. And these soft resources can be, fungible, if you know the fungibility of power. This soft resource can be fungible in transforming this region into a developed, not a developing, a developed economy. We can have, ecotourism. We have enormous potential of air and road connectivity. But what is the status at the moment? That is the interesting thing. What are the implications for Mizoram? If you look at that slide, the Caledon multimodal transport system to Northeast states through Myanmar, the project has missed its deadline of October 2015. The waterway component of 158 kilometers, Caledon River, and the road component is 109 kilometers. And this is also not taking off to the fullest extent. On Indian side, the long line Joint Point Mizoram Road, that's also achieved only 66%. The construction activities are having so many problems. In Sita Airport, there is problem of custom clearance and other approvals, land acquisition, so on and so forth. We're running with so many issues when it comes to realizing what Atal Bihari Vajpayee wanted to have, it is the road and air connectivity to Southeast Asia via Myanmar. Now, my conclusion, which is very important, means my submission regarding this is the political integration, because this is the big issue of the Northeast with the mainland, can be had only when the economic integration of Northeast as such, on its own, along with the Southeast Asian nations. So political integration with India, economic integration total of all the states of Northeast with Southeast Asia. That can further strengthen the economic dimension, and the foreign policy issues can also be sorted out. Because basically when you talk about Northeast, people feel that we are a law and order bunch of states. There are a lot of problems and so much of course there would be, because when all our borders are having international borders, there would be these things would be getting more focused than economic aspects. But it doesn't mean that the people of Northeast would be denied of their legitimate right to have a share in the process of economic development of the country as well as the world. Yes, one sentence. These seminars of this kind are interesting, and our students, our teachers are so enthused with this seminar. But these seminars are limited to only the seminar rooms. The recommendations of the seminar rooms, mine is of course theoretical, I didn't want to give any concrete recommendations. These recommendations will be confined to our seminar rooms. The policy makers in South Block or North Block, they formulate their policies sitting over there without involving the civil society groups, the intellectuals, the experts on Northeast. Somebody sitting in Delhi would declare himself to be Northeast who would not have the basic understanding of the ground realities of Northeast. For that reason, my observation or submission would be that the bureaucracy in South Block and North Block need to work in tandem with the civil society, the intellectuals, and the people of Northeast, and particularly Mizoram. Then only there can have an impact of the Act East policy. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Patnaik, for your well presentation. We appreciate that. But because of time constraint, I'm sorry that you could not tell us whatever you want to tell. Anyway, we have to go to the next speaker. The next topic is OBOR, BSIM, and EC, will it work? And the speaker will be A.O. Kengyang. Since you have all the CV of the speakers and the presenter, to save time, I'm not repeating all those. Actually, our speaker comes from S. Rajaratnam School of International Studies. So, sir, A.O. Kengyang, will you please come forward and do your presentation?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for having me. Thanks to SINA in Kolkata and Mizoram University. I come from Singapore. I am here with some of my colleagues from the S. Rajaratnam School of International Studies at the Nanyang Technological University in Singapore. I have been told to talk about the OBOR BCIM EC. OBOR stands for One Belt, One Road. it is an initiative of the Chinese government, and the BCIM stands for Bangladesh, China, India, Myanmar Economic Corridor. So I will try my best to describe our opinion about these two initiatives and leave you to ask questions and comments when there is opportunity. I'm very sorry the students sitting up there and right at the back may not be able to see this map, but basically this is a geography you know. You are in Mizoram, and next to you, you have Tripura, Manipur, and all the other territories of Northeast India, as well as the main part of India via the West Bengal state. So, the question is, this particular geography, will it help to bring Mizoram and the rest of the Northeast region closer to Southeast Asia? I think you have some big challenges like the natural terrain and the limited number of people living in parts of the area. You have big territory, but relatively speaking, population is not big. And then you have politics. So not only politics in India, politics in all the countries around Mizoram, including politics in Southeast Asia, in the ASEAN region. ASEAN stands for the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. We are 10 countries, like SAARC, your grouping here, South Asia Regional Cooperation grouping. So we have 10 countries in Southeast Asia, but our member state of Myanmar is next to you. The question is always, can such kind of geography work? Of course it can, but we must also overcome some of the difficulties presented by the geography. Mountains, rivers, not enough roads, not enough airport, seaport, not enough railway. Yeah, and on top of that, now we have our different sets of culture and politics. So these are questions which we have to think about, but they are not impossible to overcome. Here, we have a simpler map, basically showing India, Bangladesh, Myanmar, China. And the idea here is to show you that actually looking at the map without all the political boundaries and mountains and roads is actually very easy and simple, right? Just one straight line you can get across. So the underlying concept of BCIM, Bangladesh, China, India, Myanmar, is to connect Kolkata to Kunming in China. Is it possible? I don't think so. Many thousands of years ago, people already started moving both ways. So I don't see why now, given our modern technology and transportation mode, we cannot do more to connect. I listed down some of the significance of the BCIM territories. Total land area of the region is 9% of the world total. And you have 7.3% of the world's GDP. In a big market, 440 million people. And I think there is good prospect for transport development, infrastructure development beyond transportation, and then tourism and increased trade. Trade already exists, but of course, not in big volume or big value across some parts. Between India and China, between Bangladesh and India, between Bangladesh and China, the volume and the value are much higher. So I think on paper, in theory, BCIM can work. What we need to do is to encourage more development of some areas so that we can see more exchanges and interaction, and hopefully this will help to reinforce the existing conditions which help to improve relations across the four countries and to do more for trade and investment flow. I show you this map because I also need to talk about One Belt, One Road later on, but actually to reinforce the point which Professor Patnaik had mentioned, India has looked east. Why? Because there is a lot of opportunities. You look east to a place where there are big markets, there are trade and other business opportunities. And we in our region also look westward towards India because India is also a big market, a lot of business and other opportunities. So look east or look west, basically go back to one simple reason. There are opportunities, whether business or trade or people-to-people relations. And this map basically show you how all our Asian countries can be interconnected and interrelated. So there are good reasons to move ahead and develop the relevant cooperation and open up our boundaries and borders so that more of business and more people can move across each other's territory. Before I go further, I will take the opportunity here to talk about the One Belt, One Road. As you can see on the map, for those of you who have the powerful eyesight, the One Belt actually talk about the maritime area, the red line over the sea. One Road is actually the brown line overland from Beijing all the way to Turkey. So the One Road is the land connection, and the One Belt is actually the connection through the sea. And many people think that this idea is a proposal from China. The Chinese government must spend money, the Chinese companies have to invest a lot, and maybe this is only to serve China's interests. But many of us in Southeast Asia see this One Belt, One Road as an opportunity to connect with more countries, open up the business and trade across different continents, different countries, and as we go along, we get some benefits, and hopefully we use those benefits to develop our own countries, our own respective economies, our own respective societies. So my argument is that although the idea comes from China, comes from the Chinese leadership of today, it is an opportunity for all of us in the affected region, in the area covered, to make the best use of the occasion and the opportunity to further develop our own respective strengths and contribute to the realization of this One Belt, One Road, while we grow ourselves and we ourselves in our respective country can prosper. In Asia, we have many challenges. I listed down here some of the challenges. ASEAN community, I told you just now, ASEAN consists of 10 countries in Southeast Asia. The nearest country of ASEAN to you is Myanmar, just across your border. Yeah, but to clear a community is not easy. We have many plans, but on the ground, there are political issues, there are different level of development, there are different cultural and social conditions which require the political leadership to exercise great care as well as great leadership to try to overcome all these difficulties. So it is ongoing now. Then we have China's relations with ASEAN and other major powers. Other major powers here cover the USA, Russia. USA has been in the Asia Pacific for a long, long time, and we have seen American investments in different parts of Asian countries, different part of Asia. So it is a very important part of our ASEAN as well as the Asian scene. How do we develop our respective ties with the US while we promote our relation with China and Russia. Japan is also there. As you know, Japan is next to China on the far east. People say it's the land of the rising sun. Over here at 5 o'clock in the morning, your sky has already become brightened up. So I'm used to sleeping till 8 o'clock, but I have to wake up at 5 o'clock this morning because your day starts very early. So in Japan, it's even similar. They are land of the rising sun, but it has very good relations with countries in Southeast Asia as well as Asia. And during the last 50 years, it contributed to a lot of the industrialization and the commercialization of activities in our region. So the Japanese company working with the American companies create many jobs for many of our countries in the region. But today, it has to look at what is the future, how to all these connect with China's own development. And of course, we have India, look east, at east now. Yeah, Professor Patnai have explained to you the main consideration. I won't touch it again. And there is another area, trends in what we call non-traditional security issue, which is basically these natural disasters, trafficking of persons, environment degradation. We have all this deforestation here and other parts of Southeast Asia, climate change. All these require us to pay attention. And what I'm trying to put across is that all these challenges, whether political or non-political, traditional security or non-traditional security, requires our country to cooperate with one another and try to tackle the challenges. Even as we are trying to improve our own economic situation, develop the connectivity and other infrastructure projects. So, if we put all this together, I think there are many areas which India, Mizoram, ASEAN, China, Bangladesh, and of course the other countries in Asia, together with Japan, USA, and even Russia, to work together to tackle all these issues. I thought I should show you a very busy slide here. This is about the ASEAN Connectivity Master Plan. The point I want to make by showing you this is to confuse you about what we have. It's not easy to have a connectivity plan and across so many different countries, but also to suggest to you that looking at all these details, you need to focus only on a few important elements which will help you to develop the connectivity plans which you have in Mizoram, in the northeast of India, and between India, Bangladesh, China, and Myanmar for the BCIM. There are 5 things that we need to know about all these connectivity initiatives. 1, there must be cooperation between the public sector and the private sector, which means government and companies. Number 2, you have to prioritize. I see just now that Professor Patnai talked about the Kaladine multimodal project, which requires the construction of new roads and the establishment of shipping lines or shipping links between Kolkata and Sittwe in Myanmar. It is important to prioritize. What is it that you want? There are many things that we want to do with regard to connectivity. And to build roads and railway take a long time. So maybe we build more airport quickly and use the aeroplane, or like in the old days when we have to try to connect telephone lines, it took a long time. Now we use a handphone and you don't have to worry too much about many of the physical obstacles. The third thing is we have to measure our performance. We cooperate, we prioritize our project, but how do we know whether we have done our good job, or how do we prepare for going forward in the future? you have to measure your performance and see what you have not done and prioritize how to go forward. Then number 4 is always to remember that in order for all these connectivity projects to be supported by the people, you have to create jobs, provide skill education and other opportunity for your society. Otherwise, you want to construct a road, you want to build a dam across river, the people will not support you. And last but not least, there must be a lot of information exchange. You have to tell people what you are doing. You have to be transparent. You have to tell all the difficulties as well as the benefit. And hopefully people will be able to support you as you go along. So, yeah, this is the challenge for Mizoram, for Northeast region of India as you prepare your connectivity development. But overall, as I say, there are reasons to be optimistic. You have all the good conditions necessary for embarking on various economic and infrastructure development. It's just putting it together and talking to each other across all the different countries and to get the support of the people on the ground to initiate your various connectivity projects and link up your strength in each of the different parts of the region. My colleague, Professor Lee Ming Jiang, will be talking a little bit more about the One Belt, One Road later this afternoon, so I will let him give you a bit more idea about the initiative from China. But for now, I will stop here and thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Keng Young, for your nice presentation. And your presentation is very educative, informative, and also at the same time very thought-provoking. Thank you so very much. Now, we'll call upon the third speaker, Mr. S.C. Sethi, who is the chairman of SPML. He is quite a familiar face here in Mizoram. He visited more than 10 times. I know he is very much known person here, and he knows very well about Mizoram condition. So his topic will be Look and Act is an Industry Perspective. Please.
Ambassador Ong Geng Yong, Professor Lian Jela, professors, members from armed forces, friends from the media, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of CII, I would like to extend a warm welcome to all of you in today's seminar. CII is working as a major player in the northeastern region, catalyzing development in potential areas. CII has put its footprints in all the states of northeastern region with offices in Assam, Nagaland, Mizoram, Tripura, and Sikkim. CII has taken its multi-dimensional activities in close partnership with ministries and state governments with the objective of mainstreaming Northeast and infusing sustained and equitable growth. His Excellency, the Honorable President of India, Sri Pranab Mukherjee, has recently quoted, "There is little time to be lost, considering the huge pool of natural resources and the quality of human resources. Northeast of India has the potential of being an important investment destination and a center for trade and business." CII's initiative is to specialize and specifically focus on the development of local natural assets by value additions and forging market linkages, youth empowerment and skill development, development of micro, small and medium enterprises, tourism and craft, promote connectivity and infrastructure in the Northeast. CII's key initiatives in recent years have led to a new dynamism in the region, opening of existing new opportunities for business. A new generation of entrepreneurs is emerging with a strong focus on grassroots entrepreneurship development, increased greatly by improvement in security and law and order. The northeastern region offers a diverse range of cultures, economies, and rich natural resources, comprising the 8 states: Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, Sikkim, and Tripura. This region borders China and Bhutan in the north, Myanmar in the east, and Bangladesh in the south. It is thus a gateway to dynamic emerging economies with international borders of 96%. NER constitutes 8% of India's landmass and 4% of its population of 39 million. Because of its often difficult terrain and geostrategic location, the NER is relatively underdeveloped in terms of infrastructure. Although the literacy rate is much higher than the overall average of the country, 69%, many have little access to healthcare and financial services. Despite this, the net state domestic product of the NER has been growing at the same pace as that of India. Although the population of poor is still higher than the all India proportion, economic activities are centered around agriculture and plantations, with the main industries being tea, oil and natural gas, mining and sawmills, and agriculture products. NER is a region of tremendous potential given its natural resources, rich biodiversity, and educated workforce. Under the Vision 2020 plan, huge new infrastructure projects related to transport and power are coming up, including the 726 megawatt Paltana gas thermal power plant in Tripura, 2000 megawatt Subansiri hydro project in Arunachal Pradesh. Transport investments are estimated at rupees 50,000 over the next couple of years, with 4,000 kilometers in phase 1 of the Special Accelerated Road Development Program for the Northeast, scheduled for completion by March 2017. Capacity building and skill development are also high on the agenda. Other key planks of the vision include implementation of the Northeast Industrial Investment and Promotion Policy 2007, development of ITES, addressing challenges of border management, good governance, and institutional capacity building, and promotion of the Look East policy in conjunction with locational advantages. Such initiatives are already transforming the face of the NER economy, incentivizing multiple business avenues. For private industry, the government offers alluring incentives for investment in the NER under the NEIIP 2007. Here, the units are totally exempted from direct and indirect taxes, while capital investment and transport subsidies, as well as rebates in the working capital, interest and insurance are also offered. An automotive hub is proposed in Silchar, and 8 mega food parks are to be established across the region. Investment opportunities, it ranges across agriculture, industry, infrastructure, and services. The climate is favorable for horticulture, floriculture, medicinal plants, exotic fruits, sericulture, this enabling industry in processing, cold chains, logistics, etc. In particular, the bamboo and rubber industries offer huge potential in related products and services. NER enjoys large hydropower potential at 62,000 megawatt, while its onshore oil, natural gas, and coal resources are significant. A vibrant new educational hub is on the anvil for the region. The education research network connects all the Northeast state universities. Further, the government is planning central university in each state. The verdant and serene areas, as well as the ethnically diverse cultures, make NER an exciting option for tourism, infrastructure and services opportunity to cater to religious, heritage, and wildlife tourism. The opportunity in each of area are immense. Inland waterways could be developed as a luxury river cruises. The NER blends well with India's overall Look East policy of engagement. The estimated market size in the Southeast Asian rivers is around 400 million consumers. On the planning board are projects such as a rail line between Agartala and Bangladesh, the Kaladan multimodal transport project to link with the Sipe port in Myanmar, and the Trans-Asian Highway project to connect with the larger Southeast Asian economies. Effectively channeled, industries and NER could be linked to vibrant supply chains to the east. It needs to be channeled effectively and professionally. However, a development strategy for the Northeast requires more policy interventions. First, to leverage biodiversity in agriculture, there is need for transfer of technology, clusters for agro products, and marketing linkages. Second, the trade has been the lifeblood of the Northeast and must be facilitated. Strengthening infrastructure for border trades, entering into border trade protocols, and encouraging border hearts or markets, it can open new trade vistas. Third, there is a need to speed up and complete the existing infrastructure projects, new infrastructure projects, transmission lines, extension of railway lines and highways, setting up of educational institutions, and many other projects are delayed, which are leading to the loss of opportunity, which needs to be hastened up. Fourth, development of the Northeast cannot be done only by organized enterprise. The Northeast has traditional organization model of village council and ethnic and tribal groups, and these structures can be best utilized to create clusters for skill development, and which can have a launching pad for small and medium enterprises. This development model, if successfully tried, can set path as much as the northern parts of Africa, where the similar development model has been tried and have been successful. It can be a unique method for triggering growth in the Northeast. Lastly, skill development and entrepreneurship development for local youth are also very important to spread the benefits of mega projects. We hope this seminar will bring a strategy on developing Mizoram as the gateway to the Southeast Asian market. And thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. You're well within the time. And because of time constraint, I have to kind of pressurize other speakers. But for you, since you're well within the time, I have to say big congratulations, and we appreciate your presentation. Because of the time constraint, I will not use my whole time because I'm given 15 minutes for summation. But what I'll be doing is that I'll touch a little bit of what that have been said, and in other session, I'll be given another chance to address the gathering. At that time, I'll try to be speaking on those things that I would like to mention again. Anyway, three of the speakers, they did their job nicely. I would say that Professor Patnaik also has touched upon the real issues, and then the next speaker has told us something that rather quite new to us also, which we are not very familiar with. And then the third speaker, speaking from the side of industry aspect and value addition and whatever that needs to be done here, that is very much appropriate. And here I jot down a little point. Let me just tell you those that come to my mind. Look East and Act East policy had been a subject of discussion on many occasions in this very university. Seminar, workshop, symposium, conference had been organized time and again. See, recently on June 24, 2016, there was a seminar on Act East policy, cluster-based export strategy, jointly organized by Exim Bank and Government of Mizoram, and that is very much relevant here, today's seminar topic. When we talk about export from Mizoram or from the Northeast, it has to be a cluster approach in production and also in exporting. That strategy we need to follow. And what is very much common there in East Asia or Southeast Asia is that fragmentation of production. Okay, fragmentation of production, that has to be done also here in Mizoram or in the Northeast as a whole, which means that, supposing Mizoram is to export a hat or Mizo topi. Okay, so like the bamboo, the raw material should be collected in a particular village and also to be split in another village, and then the real production in another village. So each village will be specialized in a particular section of the work, and then after that packaging and then sending. So in that way, like whenever we talk here in Mizoram, like see the product is very huge quantity, but when it comes to exporting to foreign countries or at the international market, it is not big enough. So what we need to do is like, integrating the market or working together or regional trade agreements that is very much common these days, we have to do. So now, what we have to think, as Professor Patnaik has mentioned and other speakers have also mentioned, like we have to think in terms of cluster production, because cultivating something here in a particular village in the western, and then another thing in the eastern, like collecting those, that is also a big problem. So it has to be like what Mizoram government is doing nowadays, cluster approach sort of production, cluster approach sort of export of the thing. So like the whole Northeast has to come together in that line. And prior to the thing that I said, there was a seminar, workshop on border trade with Myanmar and Bangladesh organized by World Bank. And also, I would like to just tell you that out of the 2 different international seminars we have here in this university, the book is published, edited volume. The title is India-ASEAN Economic Integration. Okay, here some articles are very relevant, like they identify the products that would find good market in the Asian countries or ASEAN countries, the 10 countries together. So that sort of thing have to be worked out carefully. So as we have just listened, Northeast India is located in a strategic position. So is Mizoram also. If we take the case of Mizoram, it has 722 international borders, which means that proximity is very, very good. And then the opportunity that it has nearness to the foreign countries and then bordering Bangladesh and Myanmar, that also give special advantage. So in that way. And another thing is that Mizoram, when we consider the state of Mizoram, it's the most peaceful state. When you think other state, insurgency is there. The development is very much disturbed. And so in that way, each state will have its respective advantage over the other. So we have to consider that thing also. And then when we actually considering Act East policy to be implemented and to work for our benefit, what is very much needed, as has been mentioned, is that upgradation of infrastructures. Unless the existing infrastructure we have in the Northeast and here in Mizoram also, unless they are upgraded, then we'll be nowhere. So when we talk about infrastructure, that let us say land connectivity, waterways, and airline connectivity, and upgradation of your airport and all these things. So many things have to be done. So one belt, one road, that sort of possibility also have to be worked out and have to be studied more carefully. So in that way, so many things have to be looked into, but anyway, before doing the thing, we have to carefully plan, strategically work out what is needed. See, for the whole Northeast India, we have to identify the products that would be exported. And then in that case also, we have to kind of train our people for entrepreneurship. Here in the Northeast, in particular in Mizoram, there is a shy of entrepreneurship. So capacity building would be very much required. Pre-harvest handling and post-harvest handling sort of thing would be very much, needed to be improved. So many things have to be done and all. Anyway, what I would like to mention here is that, of course, we have advantages here in the whole Northeast, and even in a particular state like Mizoram also has a number of advantages. But at the same time, there are constraints. There are constraints. Okay, so those constraints have to be removed, and also proper planning and careful workout of the policy we have to follow that has to be done. With that few comments, and then summing up, I end this session. Thank you for your patience. Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much, sirs. We are still within time limit. I will request the audience, the first 8 rows, to come up to the podium and go behind for the tea, and those on the balcony and from 9th row backwards, side doors and rear door, go for the tea to the cafeteria. But please be here, since I am leaving you 5 minutes early. Please be here by 5 minutes early there. Be here by 11:10, and we will start the next session at 11:10. Thank you very much.